Oh yeah, here we go again. Hello and welcome into Ray on Sports. I am your host Johnny Ray. In this podcast, we talk all things sports from my own opinion. You may agree or you may disagree, but all I do is ask that you listen. So come on in, buckle up, and let's take this ride. Hello again, and welcome to Ray on Sports. My name is Johnny Ray. I'm your host for Ray on Sports, coming to you live from the KJ Ray Studios here in Lancaster, California. Today, I haven't been on here in a while. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for tuning in to my podcast and all the things I do. I appreciate it. It's very very well appreciated. Everybody listening. Thank you for my new listeners who subscribe to my podcast. Remember, you can find me on Apple. You can find me on Spotify. You can find me on YouTube at Ray on Sports 0905. If you go to YouTube, you go to Ray on Sports 0905, and you can find me. So this week, we're going to talk. I got a couple of things I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about the Travis Hunter thing with his girlfriend at the Heisman Trophy. Also, congratulations to Travis Hunter for winning the Heisman. It was that was well done. I think he was the best player. I mean, there's arguments about who was the best player in college football, but I believe that the voters knew that he had a little something special because he's a dual player. He actually plays safety as well as wide receiver, and he played it all season at a high level. And I think he averaged a reception and an interception per game was the highest in history of how many he did. But we're not really talking about the Heisman. I'm talking about what happened after that. So what happened after that was his girlfriend. The video's out there. I've seen the video. I won't share it right now, but the video was out there that I guess Travis was at what they call photo op. It was a photo op. I guess he signed it with I think it was Adidas, that the brand he was signing with. So they were just having a photo op. The people come out there. Take pictures with them, fans come out, they want to take pictures with the player, all that stuff like that. Most of the time it's usually players, usually execs, agents, family members, might be the son of an assistant who likes Travis Hunter and wants to, Dad, can I get a picture with him? Stuff like that. So he was just doing this thing. He was doing photo ops and opportunities. And what happened was, his girlfriend took exception to it. She did not like it. So what she did was she pouted and said, all I got to do is sit here while you take all these pictures. First of all, ladies, if you have a player of Travis Hunter's status and he just won the Heisman and he's projected to go first in the NFL draft coming up, I'm not saying sit there and be quiet, but I'm saying understand who he is, who the person is, and what you got. He's doing what he's supposed to do. He's probably fulfilling contractual obligations to the company that he signed with that to do these, signing, I guess they call them signing photo shoots and all the stuff like that, signing, whatever they call it, photo ops that they call it, that, it's required by most players when you get draft when you're on the verge of being drafted and everybody knows you're going to be drafted. So every time every brand is out there looking for you, trying to get you to sign with their brand, and part of that is taking pictures and doing photo ops. The more you're out there, the better you are as a brand. Your face is out there, your brand, your draft status goes high. Right now, he's projected to be the number one draft pick, and I believe the two teams that are close to, he could be drafted to is either the LA Raiders. I'm sorry, the Las Vegas Raiders. I'm sorry. I said LA Raiders. No. The Raiders or the Giants. Now, both teams need a quarterback, so they probably wouldn't pick Travis as who they want. They probably would go with a quarterback. Shedeur Sanders is also coming out, who is Deion Sanders' son, played college football at Colorado University with his dad, Deion, as a coach. For those who don't know college football like that, Shedeur Sanders is the son of Deion Sanders, prime time Deion. Some people call him Coach Prime. Some people call him Coach Sanders. Hey, I call him Coach Prime because I love the man. He's very rude. He's very down to earth. But I digress a little bit. So, like I said, the thing with the girlfriend was that she was frustrated that I guess he was getting all this attention. I don't know if she had a bad day. She just didn't feel well. I don't know what was going on with her, but she just like didn't want to be there. And for that, you got to understand at that moment who the person you're with is about. If she really understood and she looked at it, the pay scale right now for top overall draft pick, $37 million, which closed a $24 million signing bonus. $37 million. For $37 million, I can sit there for a minute and wait till you take your pictures and do all that stuff like that because I'm gonna be part of that. I'm gonna get a piece of that pie. For her, I don't know what it was. Like I said, I don't know what it was. I don't know what happened. I don't know why she was frustrated with it or whatever it was, whatever the situation was that she was frustrated with, but she was frustrated and she didn't want to be there. So, of course, social media just pounded her and hammered her and went off her and did all this stuff and talked about her and saying he should dump her, because she don't know what she's doing and she don't understand. Most girlfriends / wives who have star athletes as their husbands understand the publicity of it, understand the photo ops opportunities, understand that stuff, and they just either they get in the picture and they get involved in it, or they sit back and relax and say, okay, you got to do what you got to do. I'll support him 100%. But for you to sit there and just and the way social media is now, for it to get out like that, and people to see it like that, yeah, that's not a good look. But I hope she gets her thing together. I'm not wishing anything bad on their relationship. I pray that this is an eye-opening situation for her, and she understands the severity of what she did and what it looked like on social media, because they're saying she's getting hammered. She's starting to be depressed and cry and drink and all that stuff like that. I pray that, she doesn't go do something crazy because of, how social media is, but that's social media. Social media can hype you up one day and tear you down the next. Ask any athlete, ask anybody in the entertainment business, and anybody who does anything in social media, ask myself included. I'm doing a podcast. I can get hammered in social media about something I say on my podcast that gets out there. And I do videos and I do audio. And if I put something out there and somebody sees it and they put it out there on social media, I got to deal with the consequences. So, word to the wise, know who you are, know who the person you are with, and know that this is the lifestyle that you signed up for. When you found out, if you know sports and you know the business of sports, of any business, football, basketball, no matter the sport it is, you know the business, you know what you signed up for. So you should understand what's going on. All right. So that's it about that. Now let's move on. What else I'm going to talk about? I want to talk about college football. College football players are here. I'm not really going to talk about that. What I want to talk about, what I was thinking about, is the different names of the college football bowl games. What happened? It used to be the Fiesta Bowl, the Orange Bowl, the Sugar Bowl. Yeah, it was those bowl games. But now it's a bowl game, got every kind of name. And I don't know if it's a brand thing. What is it? Is it based on who can pay the most for the bowl game? Is it based on sponsorship? You guys tell me, write to me, email me, send me an email at rayonsports0905@gmail.com and give me your thoughts on that. What do you think about that? So I'm kind of running down the list of the different ones they have now. I saw one last night. It was at SoFi in Inglewood. It was number 24 UNLV against Cal, and UNLV won it 24-13. But the name of the game was the LA Bowl game. I don't know if it's a new bowl game. I haven't been keeping up with the bowl games, but I think it's a new one. But that was out there. So you also had the Boca Raton Bowl, like I said, the LA Bowl. Today you have a New Orleans Bowl. You have a Cure Bowl. I don't know what that's about. It's in Orlando, Florida. The Gasparilla Bowl is coming up. And then also on Friday, it starts the college football playoffs, the first round. Now, that's not even a bowl game. It's just a playoff game. And it's number 8 Indiana versus number 5 Notre Dame. And it's in Indiana. So it's like the college football scene is turning into the NFL scene. As far as playoffs go, I guess you get the higher ranking, you get a bowl game at home. Playoff game at home. So that's what that is. And then that second round college football, which is SMU against Penn State. And like I said, a higher ranking gets the home game, so it's going to be played in Pennsylvania. You know what? Tuesday, I never knew Penn State was in Pennsylvania. Penn State, huh? Who thought? Okay, Johnny, then you figure it out. Then you have the college football playoff first round, which is number 16 Clemson against number 3, which is in Austin, Texas. Number 3 Texas against number 16 Clemson. Okay, so then you also have the other college football playoff. Number 7 Tennessee against number 6 Ohio State. That's going on. So you had that one too. But then you go back to the bowl games again. The Myrtle Beach Bowl, which is going to be in Conway, South Carolina. Then you have the famous Idaho Potato Bowl, which is going to be in Idaho. And for some things about these bowl games, I don't know. I think you just got to get a bid for them, or they call your school. I don't know how that system works. If anybody knows how the system works, please let me know. Please hit me up at railsports0905@gmail, or hit me up on Twitter X at Rail Sports. I have an X channel as well, Rail Sports 0905. If you want to hit me up on social media, you can hit me up on Instagram at Johnny C. Ray Jr. or Laker Johnny 1. It's one of the two. Or if you want to hit me up on X, it's Laker Johnny 1 on X. So either one of those, hit me up. Let me know. How does the bowl situation work? But yeah, so then they had that. They had the Hawaii Bowl, which is in Hawaii. The Game Above Sports Bowl, that's in Detroit, Michigan. Game Above, I'm assuming that's a brand that they have. You have the Rate Bowl. You have the 68 Venturas Bowl. You have the Armed Forces Bowl. I think I remember that one. The Birmingham Bowl. Now, see, here's the bowl games that I remember. The Liberty Bowl, the Holiday Bowl, and the Las Vegas Bowl. I remember those games. I remember those bowl games. I think they've been around for a while. But now you also have the Fenway Bowl, which is going to be in Boston, Fenway Park, Boston, Massachusetts. You have the Pinstripe Bowl. Think about it, Pinstripe. Yankees. Yep. It's going to be in Bronx, New York at Yankee Stadium. The New Mexico Bowl, I remember that, you have the Pop-Tarts Bowl. The Pop-Tarts Bowl. Think about that for a minute. Pop-Tarts Bowl? Are they going to be giving away Pop-Tarts? Is that the you get cherry Pop-Tarts for winning that bowl game? That's what I want to know too. This is Johnny Ray on Sports, just giving you, a little different insight on sports with these bowl games. Like the Idaho Bowl, are they going to give out potatoes because you win? Are you going to get a potato trophy for winning the Idaho Bowl game? Don't know, but we'll find it out. Like I said, the Pop-Tarts Bowl, that's in Orlando, Florida. You have the Arizona Bowl, the Military Bowl. I've heard of that one. Then you have the Alamo Bowl. See, now these bowl games are the ones I remember. The Military Bowl, the Alamo Bowl, the Independence Bowl. I remember those games. The Music City Bowl. I think that's new, but that's in Nashville. Okay. Now, when you hear some of these bowl games, you can kind of guess where they're happening at. Music City, Nashville, Tennessee, because Nashville, Tennessee is the Music City. You have the Rela Quest Bowl. That's probably another brand that I don't know nothing about, but that's going to be in Raymond James Stadium, which is the home of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's in Tampa, Florida. Now you have the Sun Bowl, that's an old bowl game. It's El Paso, Texas. Then Orlando has like 3 bowl games playing there, at least 3 to 4. Out of these bowl games that I've mentioned, Orlando has like 3 or 4 of them. They have the Citrus Bowl, and all these 3 bowl games are going to play in the same stadium, Camping World Stadium. Camping World I know that's a brand. Camping World is, with campers and trailers and those things of that nature. So that's a bowl game. Then you have the Texas Bowl. Then once again, you have the college football playoffs. Now, the last part of the college football playoffs bowls are going to be, and the way the college football was set up was the top 4. I think the top 4 seeds had a bye, so they had to wait for the winner of the semifinal bowl games. But in those college football bowl games, one's going to be the Fiesta Bowl. One's going to be the Peach Bowl. Then the granddaddy of all, the Rose Bowl, as well as the Sugar Bowl. So you have those. Then you're going to have the Gator Bowl, the First Responders Bowl, the Duke Mayos Bowl, the Bahama Bowl, and then you have the Orange Bowl, Cotton Bowl, and then the championship game. So that's the different bowl games. So I just wanted to touch on that for a minute and talk about it for a minute, to see what it's about, and let you know what I think about those. So I don't know. I don't know. Now, that being said, next subject: NBA, NBA, NBA. NBA draft is coming. I'm sorry, the NBA trades are coming up. A lot of teams are out there looking for NBA players and teams to make and players to make their team better. My question is your NBA player, are you better as a role player or are you better as a star? Because role players get traded left and right. And I guess it all depends on in my opinion, it all depends on who's doing what. Who's doing what. What are you doing as far as what can you bring to your team? Like some teams need shooting, so they go out and get a shooter. They find a team that's trying to trade a shooter, and sometimes you find players on teams that they're pretty good, but they don't get the playing time on that team, and so they can get traded to another team where they can start and get that kind of playing time and prove with their work. Or they could be a player that gets on their team and helps off the bench. They might need bench production. So they might get a player off another team that's not doing much on their bench and say, well, we need him as a bench player. Or another scenario could be a person who used to be a superstar who now has reduced his role to a bench player and has accepted his role as a bench player. And so he can help a team, win a championship, do whatever. Now, the thing about it is once you get to that team and you win and you get paid, then everybody wants you. The problem with that is when everybody wants you, you get to the other team and you don't do nothing. So is it really the player that helped the team or is it the system that helped you? Because some systems are made for certain players. You have certain players that shoot, 3 and D, 3 and D, 3 and D, 3 and D. They call them 3D players. And you go to certain teams and that's exactly what they need. And it works for you. Like Boston has an awesome team. I think they shoot the most threes in the league right now. But the players they have are in that system all shoot at a high percentage. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, what's the guy named? The point guard, White, Drew Holiday, the center, Porzingis. They all shoot threes and they all shoot at a high percentage. So that system works for them. And that's why they won last year, because they have a system and they have the players around them and they build. Now, building a team like that, a championship team like that, comes from the front office. And in your front office, you have to have a basketball mind GM. You have to have a basketball minded assistants and stuff that know the game and know what's needed. Now, back in the day, championship teams were built around a center and one star, and then role players around them. You had a lot of people that won championships like that. And back in the 80s with the Celtics and with the Lakers, you had Magic and you had Kareem and you had players around them and they won. Boston had Chamberlain, and they had Walton and they had Bird. But like I said, you had that one star, you had that one center that clogged the middle, and you had the role players you put around them and they won. Today's NBA has changed that landscape dramatically. So now you have to look at how the game is played now to understand what you need to make it as a team. So you got to find out what you need as a team to make it work. And for some teams, for some players, you have, I think the league is 3. I think I saw a story today about LeBron. LeBron said something about where the league is going to, that everybody's shooting threes now, and that's what it is with threes. It's a league of threes, and so every team is looking for that 3-point player to do what they need them to do to get them over the hump. So if you're a 3-point threat, you can make some money now. So LeBron had a thought about the All-Star, because I think we were talking about the All-Star game, but he said something has to change. He was talking about, but I think he was talking about the All-Star game, but he also had a comment that he was talking about the league in general. He said, you know how many threes we're putting up a game, and I won't use the language he used, but he said that that's what he don't know. He don't want to say it's killing the game because at one time they said the game was either too boring because teams weren't scoring enough. So they at one time they moved the 3-point line in, so then everybody started shooting threes, and then they said, okay, now they're shooting too many. Let's put it back to the original line, and so then only the sharpshooters were winning. But then the formula for winning was a 3-point player because you had teams like Golden State winning championships with the Splash Brothers, 2 3-point specialists. So every team, that's the blueprint right now. Get you a star or a couple of stars, or if at the most get 3 stars and some role players. 2 stars that can carry your team, the third one that can back you up in case the other 2 go down, and then role players to play around them. Now every team is looking for that. And if you can't do that, it's hard. Now, teams like the Denver Nuggets, who won the championship 2 years ago, they played that brand of basketball. They had a 3-point player on the wing, Michael Porter Jr. They had Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, who's an excellent three-pointer shooter. But then they had Jokic in the middle, who was navigating the whole system. You know, he was the point guard. He was a point center. They used to call him point centers. He was a point center, and he was navigating the whole game for them. But now, the league has changed dramatically, and I think Jokic is trying to bring it back. But the thing about it is Jokic shoots threes too. But the thing about Jokic is, and I'll tell you this, the European players, that's what they do. They do it for a living. They shoot the three. They shoot at a high level like that. So it tells you something about, you know, what's going on with the league. Now, in perspective, I'll tell you, and I'm reading the story on ESPN.com. The story was written by, who was the story? The story was written by Dave McManaman, ESPN staff writer. He says about the NBA, about the 3-point, because he asked Adam Silver, the commissioner, the criticism amid the increase in 3-point volumes this week ahead of the NBA, this week in the NBA. And Adam Silver said the answer is yes. We are having many discussions about the style of basketball being played. I will not reduce it to the so-called 3-point shooting issue. I think we will look more holistically at the skill level on the floor, the diversity of the offense, the fan reception to the game, all of the above. So I think they're talking about the All-Star game in general, but people are putting it on the threes. That's what's messing up the game. And so Dave also writes, to offer some perspective as to just how much the 3-point shot has been a staple for the NBA offenses. And this is one of the points I brought up. The 2015-16 Golden State Warriors averaged 31.6 3-pointer attempts per game. That was number 1 in the league, and it en routed to a 73-9 record that year. They would rank 29th this season, with only Denver Nuggets attempting fewer than 30.4 this year. Now, the defending champs with the Boston Celtics, like I said, they made their system around 3-pointers. They're averaging 51.1 3-point attempts per game. 51.1 3-point attempts per game. You know how much that is? 51 in your 3-pointers, that's 150 points per game. That's what they're averaging. They should be averaging. That's what they should be averaging per game, but that's how many attempts they're putting up. If they made those attempts, they would be averaging 150 points per game in 3-pointers. And that could blow most teams out the water because a lot of teams don't have that kind of 3-point threats. But is that really the formula for winning a championship now? Is the 3-point really the formula for winning a championship? Don't know. But now, like I said, I was talking about the NBA trades coming up. Will that affect players who are not 3-point threats? Will that affect players who are not that good? You know, a lot of players can't go anywhere because you got to know what the team needs. Like my team, the Los Angeles Lakers, we need a backup center. So they're looking at Jonas Valanciunas from the Washington Wizards as a trade aspect. I think they're trying to get Walker Kessler from the Jazz, but the story came out today that the Jazz has rejected the trades from different teams regarding Kessler. And Kessler is he's already established himself as one of the best rim protectors in the association. He's averaging 2.4 blocks per game, and he's averaging 11.2 points a game, plus 10.5 rebounds a game. And like I said, 2.5 blocks per game. He's always shooting 72% from the field and hitting 58% of his free throws. Now, what all that means is that he plays around the rim. That's why his percentage is up, and he's getting fouled. That's why he's got 58% from the free throw line, because he's playing around the rim and he's taking those bigs in there, and if they can't stop him, they're fouling him, and he's going to the line. So that's what teams right now. That's what my team, the Lakers, are looking for, is a backup, is a center to lighten the load on Anthony Davis, because Anthony Davis, in my opinion, is not a center. He's playing the center role because of his height, but he's not a true center. He's more of a power forward. Now, in the days of Olajuwon, those days of Shaq, Anthony Davis would have been a center, because him and Olajuwon about the same, height wise. But like I said, there's a change in the landscape. There's change in the landscape of the NBA. You went from the center guard dominated league to now 3-point league, and maybe a center down there to do some damage. But the only thing they want centers to do right now is rebound and protect the paint. That's what your job's going to be. Rebound to protect the paint. We'll shoot. We'll shoot all threes. And a lot of players that used to didn't shoot threes are now tailoring their games to the three. And I think that's kind of like changing the game. LeBron used to didn't shoot that many threes, but now this year he's shooting a lot. He used to drive to a basket a lot, but now he's pulling up a lot and shooting jumpers. And that comes with age. You get the older you get, you got to change your game. And if you don't change your game to keep up with the league, you're going to be left behind. And you're either going to retire or you're going to be a backup on the backup role on some team, sitting on the bench waiting for a chance to play. So that's my take on the NBA trades. The last thing I want to do before I get out of here is talk about NFL teammates. Now, speaking of that, there was a game on Monday night. My San Francisco 49ers played the Los Angeles Rams. There was a player by the name of Devontae Campbell who was playing backup linebacker. He was in for the linebacker that got hurt, Dre Greenlaw. He was playing for Dre Greenlaw. Now, Dre Greenlaw, last time he played was in the Super Bowl when he got, I guess at halftime, something happened with his hamstring or something, but he was out for the season. And, Achilles. He tore his left Achilles during the last Super Bowl. And so this guy, Campbell, came in and they brought him in and said, you're going to play linebacker until Greenlaw gets back. I'm sure that's the conversation. I can guarantee you that's the conversation they had when they talked to him, is that you're going to have the role of backup linebacker until he gets back. And then I guess Campbell wasn't doing as well because a second-year linebacker, D. Winters, surpassed him on the depth chart. So he was the third linebacker. So I guess in this game, they put him in and said, I don't know if he played. I'm not sure about the roster, if he was playing the game or not. But I don't know if he started. I don't think he started. But I think Dre Greenlaw started the game. I know that for a fact. But Greenlaw was on a minutes restriction. It's called minutes restriction. It's when you come back from an injury and you're not at game speed. So you can practice. You practice at real time, but practice in the game, day of the game, is two different things. So they brought him in and they said, okay, Dre, you're going to play a little bit and we'll see how you manage it. And if you do it okay, then we'll go from there. So I guess this guy Campbell was supposed to come in for Greenlaw. He decided, I ain't coming in. No, I ain't coming in. I'm staying. So the coach said, okay, no problem. Second quarter happened. They said, hey, man, you want to go in? Nope, I ain't going in. Okay, so I don't know what the conversation was. Halftime, I don't know what the conversation was. Third quarter, he comes out. They said, hey, we need you to go in. He said, nope. He said, no, I'm not playing, and walked to the locker room. So in the fourth quarter, he walked to the locker room. And all his teammates, everybody from Nick Bosa to George Kittle to everybody on the team was like, we don't know what's going on with this dude. DeMar Lenore was like, they never saw it coming. So Lamar was quoted as saying he had a locker space next to him, and he said he never in a million years thought he would quit on the team. He also said, for this to happen and to him to do that, I just lost all respect. I'm a person that goes 110% every play. If I am hurt and the guy behind me is not backing me up, I can't come in and do what I don't want to go in. I just feel like he's a cancer to the team. Bam. There it is right there. So He quit on the team. So what they did was they decided to suspend him for the last 3 games of the season. What does that mean? That means he doesn't get paid. So he will miss his I guess he was expected, get paid for the last 3 games, but since he's suspended, he doesn't get it. Now they signed him for a 1-year deal for $5 million. And he started 12 of the first 13 games and posted 79 tackles, 3 for loss and 2 pass defenders. And he played like 90% of the snaps. But like I said, he was taking a spot. That's like in any sport. In basketball, I'll take a player like Steph Curry playing for the Warriors. If you come in and play for Steph and Steph is hurt, the coach will say, hey, you're starting today. But in the back of your mind, when Steph gets back, Steph getting his spot back unless he's on minutes restrictions. And he's out for a foreseeable amount of time. Like he misses like half the season and he comes back. Then they can put him in minutes restrictions. Says, hey, Steph, go in for a little bit, come out. But then Steph gonna have that call and say, you know what? I don't want to play. I don't feel it. I'm winded or whatever. And the coach will make the decision. Now, any other player will like, okay, cool, I'll step in. But this guy was like, no, I ain't doing that. So what does that mean? There's 2 things that means. One, that means you wasn't there for the team anyway. You were there for yourself. And it's just my personal opinion. It's my podcast. I can say what I can say it the way I want to say it. But that's one, that means that you weren't there for your team. 2, that means that you just messed up the chances to go anywhere else. Do you understand that what you did, Mr. Campbell? You messed up your chance to go anywhere else because now other teams are going to look at that and go, yeah, he was pretty good when he played, but he quit on the team. So if we bring him in, do we have to worry about the same thing? Now, I'm sure the other team's going to call him and talk to him and ask him what happened. And he hasn't spoke yet. Haven't heard anything about it yet. Haven't heard him anything. I haven't read anything on social media or anything about it. So it's up to him to see what he wants to do. But as a player, as a team player, that's why it's called team. There's no I in team. That's an old saying that everybody knows. There's no I in team. But then I think Kobe once said, there's no I in team, but there's me in team. So, but I don't know what happened. I don't know, but that's just my take on it. You never quit on your teammates, ever. Not in anything, not in sports, not in life. You don't quit on your family in life. You don't quit on your teammates in sports. That's just something you don't do, because what that does is it leaves a sour taste in everybody's mouth that you decided you weren't good enough to play. You weren't good enough to do whatever. And so you gave up on your team. But God, that's a lot. So that's all I have for this week. That's it for this week of Ray on Sports. I'll see you guys. The holidays are coming up. If I don't talk to you guys again, I wish you a merry, very, very, very Merry Christmas and a very Happy New Year. And start off January fresh. I might be off. I might not put out something for the next couple of weeks because, holiday season is coming up. I'll see how my schedule goes. I'll try to put something out, regarding the NFL playoffs, the college football playoffs, try to get my take on that. But like I said, all those, thank you. Once again, I thank God for you guys listening. I thank God for giving me this podcast and giving me a chance to talk about things that are in my head about sports, because they're there. I don't just do stats and sports. I give personal opinions, my take on it, my thoughts on what players and what people think. If you look at, listen to some of my past podcasts from last season. I got one I did with Big Mike. Listen to that. I got one I did with my nephew Quilly. Listen to that. I got one I did on, different subjects. And so if you haven't listen to my podcast, look back at some episodes and listen to some episodes and let me know. I take criticism. I love criticism. I love comments. Give me your comments, give your criticism. If you want to be a guest on the podcast, let me know that too. Hit me up on rayonsports0905@gmail.com. Once again, that's rayonsports0905@gmail.com. Thank you guys for listening. Remember, if you miss any of this podcast, it is available on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify. You can even tell your smart speaker to play Ray on Sports podcast. So until next time, this is Johnny Ray for Ray on Sports. Thank you for listening. Thank you. I'm sorry. Thank you for listening to my podcast. Thank you for buckling up and taking this ride with me. Until next time, take care and God bless. And I will be signing off right now as soon as I figured out how to sign this thing off. Just playing. Thank you guys. I love it. I love you guys.